Welcome, everybody, to another Found Purpose episode. I'm your host, Cortland Fields. I'm here with my kids again, Amaya and Curtis Fields. This is part 2 of A Father's Confession. Let's get into it. Morning.
Good morning.
Good. So, the last time we spoke, we was talking about abandonment issues, and Curtis, you was explaining how me leaving to go to the military had, kind of affected you with abandonment issues. My question is to Amaya: Did me leaving to go to the military, did it affect you any type of way?
I feel like it did. Only because I wasn't able to spend enough time with you. Like when I did come down, I didn't see you as much as I was hoping. So I guess that's where the disconnect came into, of not being able to build our bond properly.
Mm-hmm. So do you feel that by having a divorced parent in your life, especially like for a father, did that shape your growing up? Did it hinder you, or can y'all talk about that? Let's start with Curtis.
No, it didn't hinder me at all. I feel like it made me better.
In what way?
As in just a person. Like, I have multiple sides of who I am, such as I have Tyler, which is on my mother's side of the family, and everybody knows me as Tyler, and I'm who I am with them. And then with you, I'm Curtis, and everybody knows me as Curtis. And I'm different as Curtis than I am as Tyler.
But what I'm asking is, by me, because you said before about you thought you had abandonment issues, but what I'm asking is, when I was not there, did you find it harder to do things on your own as a person, one person, not multiple people? Tyler and Curtis, but the one person, like, what were you going through? Like, explain that.
Nothing was harder that you wasn't here. I was just like, my mother still was. Well, I still had my grandparents, and they did everything for me. The only thing that was that I couldn't see you when I wanted to see you. So there was nothing that changed. It was just, if I needed something, my mother or somebody got it for me. It was nothing major changed. It was just wanting to see, like, I didn't.
Got you. What about you, Amaya? Chris, I got you. What about you, Amaya?
I don't think there was a big hindrance. I feel like for the most part, I could see it as it was kind of hard for me to adapt. Because, being down here with my mother is different from when I go up there. So it's kind of like a different environment. And, not having that, and I have my...
I think we lost Curtis to get a bad connection, but go ahead, continue.
How can I say it? I would say like it's more like a security thing. Like in the beginning, I felt like I was lacking, so I was having a hard time adapting to how things were over there versus, being down here in my own space. I would think that was the only thing.
Okay, so here's what I did notice growing up. I noticed that from the distance between you being in Virginia and you coming to New York, there was like a culture difference as far as aggression and the way New Yorkers act versus the way you were brought up in Virginia, where it's like less aggressive. How was you able to adapt? Was you able to adapt? And when did you come to adapt and say, you know what? Okay, I'm real polite on this side, but then it's sometimes like when you come to New York, it's like, oh, I gotta act, for lack of better words, kind of ghetto over here. Like, do you feel like you got the best of both worlds, or do you feel like...
I feel like I did in some sense. I'm grateful. I feel like me adapting fully to the changes didn't really necessarily come into like I gotten older. And like, you know, it came to a moment where it's like, okay, Amaya, put your foot down. You got to speak up for yourself. But I feel like, you know, me being over there all the time, I had no choice but to grow a thicker skin. And I had no choice but to, you know, let out my aggressive side. I feel like I was able to use it more in a more comfortable manner. Like, that's just how I am now. But it was definitely a switch, because, you know, how you taught me and Curtis is different than how my mom teaches me. So it's definitely a switch between the two, but it shaped me into a better person, I believe.
Good. I'm glad you said that, because I definitely seen a change, because it was like you were here in New York, you were more reserved, like you was kind of like scared of, you know, you didn't know what to, like, it was like, what the hell, you know, but now, but it's different now. And how did you get to that point to be able to switch? Because I know the story, but they don't know, the audience don't know the story about what you had to go through and what you were dealing with.
Right.
So explain that, touch on that a little bit.
Well, as you know, families can be crazy. And
but make sure before we get phone calls, just know we're on a podcast and they could be listening.
I know.
Okay.
But you asked me a question.
All right.
But families can be crazy, and I just feel like that was just the biggest thing. Because on my mom's side, we're all like close together, so we had no choice but to like do things together all the time. I'm not saying that everything's perfect, but it was just always a close net when it came to family versus, you know, going over there. It was always something. Like, it was always something.
So you're trying to say my family was the crazy part?
I mean, everybody. I'm not just saying it was your family, because I dealt with things on both sides, but I'm just saying from like where the aggression and all that stuff came into play, I met on your side. So I guess that's where the change was, because I just realized, you know, like, hey, this.
Can you come back in a little bit, because it seems like we're losing you a little bit.
I just feel like, can you hear me?
Yes, a little bit. If you come a little bit closer, we'll probably get you.
I say the aggressive part came into play, or me adapting was just like, you know, well, this is just who they are. You know, like, there's nothing I can do. And I don't know, it's just a lot of things that I witnessed growing up, and like, it was just like a lot of disconnect and hurt that I didn't understand, because, you know, I would just come and go. So it was like I wasn't around all the time where I felt comfortable, and just like sometimes I'd be feeling like I just thrown in. Like, I come in, everything's good, then one day it's not, and it's just like everything hits the fan. So I don't know, I guess it's just like I just had to adapt. And like, you know, I've learned that growing up over there, I had to be more tough. Like, I had to change my mindset, and I had to, like, you know, think differently and not take things to heart. You know, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense, because I understand where you're coming from. Now, me and you spoke about issues in residing, like, with anxiety.
Right.
You know, do you want me to kind of start it, or do you want to start it?
I mean, you can start it. I mean, I feel like I always had anxiety. I just feel like there was just like a certain thing where it just intensified. So.
Right. So I remember, and can I tell a story?
Mm-hmm.
Law school? Okay, cool. So I remember I was getting this phone call, right, from your mom, and she was telling me that she was in the car. And I was like, why are you in the car? She's like, because Amaya's home. And I was like, what do you, okay, so she's home. She's like, no, she's home from school. She said she's not going back. I was like, what? No, she's going back. She's like, no, she said she ain't going back. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna give her a call. But your mom, she was like, I could tell she didn't want to deal with the problem on her own, you know what I mean? In your situation, you know what I mean? It's like, and that's the good thing about me and your mom. Me and your mom always like had like a good team connection when it came to like raising you, understand? So for that, she always let me, when it came to like the more harder and the tougher situations, I guess, she would like let me take the lead, and she like put me out there be the bad guy, she'd be the good person, you know. You know, like, you know, your dad, you know. But I remember calling you, and you were home, and I was like, what you doing home? And she was like, oh, just nothing. He's like, and you was not trying not to tell me, but I kept on probing you, you know. And the thing is that I always felt like is when your kids tell you nothing is wrong, but they're acting different out of character. I feel that everyone has characteristics. You understand? Right. And when that characteristics switch, it's like, and you're saying nothing is wrong, and you're getting upset and you're getting anxious, I feel like that's when I need to probe, and I need to go at you. I need to stick around with you a little bit longer and a little bit harder, because it's like, no, you're acting weird. You know what I mean? And so I'm going to find out. Like, when we found out I was going to, because you was in school, that high school you was doing much more. So when you got to college, you felt like you needed to do more because you had more time on your hand, and you didn't know where this energy was coming from. So take it from there, and like, or start wherever you want, but just elaborate on that and let the audience know, like, anxiety, and how did you feel that, how did me and your mom do by handling a situation, you know, and, you know, could we have did anything better, or what did you wish we could have done better?
Oh, y'all might get me for my answers on this one, though. I wouldn't say it was me not wanting to tell anybody. I would say it was just me being confused. I would say I knew that something was wrong and there was like a change within me, but it's just like I didn't understand exactly where it was coming from or what the source of it was. Around that time, I would say it was a big adjustment. I was going through a big change within my life with graduating school and, you know, having that outlet and, you know, continuing to push forward and going back to school again. I just felt like it was just a lot of factors that came into play. I feel like around that time when I had gotten into therapy and everything, my therapist she made it more easy for me to understand myself and adjust to why things happen. So I'm able to understand. But I just feel like around that time, I was just confused. And I understand my mother was scared because I was scared myself. I would have moments where I'm just fine and I'm smiling, and then 5 minutes later, I'm just like bawling my eyes out, and I just didn't know why. I was just high on different emotions, and I just felt lost, if that makes sense.
Okay, let's just make sure that you was a high on weed, was you?
No, high on emotions, I said. High on emotions. But how did mommy and you help? I feel like around that time, me and you kind of like bumped heads because I would try to tell you how I felt, and it was more like, in that sense, I kind of felt like you was kind of, how can I say it? I'm trying to get my words together.
Keep it real, keep it 100.
Yeah. I felt like you wasn't trying to hear me, or you was not trying to understand. Like, I just want, around that time, like when we have our conversations or whatever, I would tell you how I feel and you would try to tell me something different. All
right, Curtis just came back in good. Well, go ahead, finish it.
I felt like around that time, it was kind of hard to like speak on what I felt, because I just felt like it would just be turned into something different. And around that time, I kind of felt like how you was teaching me, or your advice you was giving me, it was kind of more of
an authoritative versus
like authoritative, but I felt like in a way you was kind of teaching me how, I don't know, in a sense, how you was brought up. And I didn't feel like that was effective, because how I was brought up and how you was brought up was different.
Right. And you know what? And that is a good thing that I want to oppose to you and Curtis, because both your parents, both your mother's sides of the family are very different from how I was raised and how I was brought up, you know? So that is a very interesting thing that you said, because I'm more of, I come from a time where it's like, just do it, brush it off and just get up and do it. You know what I mean? And your moms are more of, okay, are you okay? Make sure you're good. You know what I mean? So I get it and I understand it. And I want Curtis to chime in too. Did you ever feel like there was a difference in upbringing, like where I was more authoritative and your mom was more laid back? Or how did you feel about the upbringing, the raising?
It was different for me when I was growing up. That's why I always wanted to go to you. So then I got to go.
I got one. I'm a fucker.
Even though that if you had to work, I'll go to Aunt Teresa's house and I go chill with all the cousins over there, or I go to Gigi and everybody's over there.
Right.
That's why it was different. My mother, it was like, oh, you got to do school, you got to do this, you got to read, you got to do that, and I was just like, it's Friday. It's who does work on Saturday? Daddy,
you know what? And not to cut you, but this is true. I remember when you was growing up, and remember a time where I was like, okay, this is because Amaya came to New York and she was with us, and I was like, okay, this is Amaya Day, and I said, Amaya, anything you want to do? I don't know if y'all remember this. Anything you want to do, we're going to do. And you said you wanted to go Barnes and Nobles and read the book. You remember that, Curtis? And I was like, what the hell? I was like, you want to read the book? You're definitely not from my side of the family. You want to go read books? Oh, wow. You know, so I definitely get it. So the other thing is, because of the different, because I'm learning a lot from this right now. So definitely from the different types of upbringing that me and your moms had, I know that plays a part in how you come up in the world. However, as brother and sister, was there a learning curve to try to know each other and understand each other? Or did you always feel like the big brother that you had to protect? And Amaya, did you always feel like Curtis had your back or understood, or like?
I feel like every siblings have their moments, and I just don't know what it is about, you know, having an older sibling, and at a certain age you just beef with the younger siblings, because that's how it was with me and Tashana too. So I feel like, you know, me and Curtis definitely had that that moment where it wasn't as strong as it is now, and I feel like that's when we was living in Grandpa's house. But I just feel like
just put my own business like he's homeless. But go ahead.
But no, I just feel like we gotten closer because of the family drama that was going on, and we kind of understood how both of us was feeling, or we was kind of on the same page of that. So I just feel like in that sense it kind of brought us together, because it's like, okay, well, you're not tripping and I'm not tripping. and it's just like, okay, we got each other, we on the same page. So I just feel like with that, it's just like we gotten closer because we understood how growing up and how hard stuff was.
Right. What about you, Curtis?
For me, growing up when Amaya was just born.
With you and Amaya, being that you were from New York, and
so I don't feel like there was a difference because with Amaya, at first I just treated her like another person, because on my mother's side I'm the first grandchild, so it's like I have a bunch of little kids around me. So Amaya was just another little kid around me. And then as we got older, it was no kid, no brother. Amaya don't know how to cross the street. Let me throw her on my back and run across the street because I'm not trying to get hit by a car. And if she get hit by a car, I just want to get hit by the car too, because daddy gonna kill me for not getting Amaya hit by the car. So it was just I just knew it had to be different. So I just charged. Amaya came down. It was fun. Like, even now, me and Amaya got a look when we look at each other when something goes on, and we just start laughing. So, and I noticed that with a lot of cousins, because even me and Devin, we look at each other and we just start laughing. It's just, I think it's just a universal thing that we all have.
Right.
Knowing that we family, we're just like, we all get what's going on, and it's just like it's a mental thing. Like we're like we know what's going on
again. Yeah, like
what's going on. So
right. So I think for me, I kind of like noticed that it was always important for me that y'all got together because y'all came from different homes and different backgrounds and stuff like that. So it was always important to me that y'all got along, and I always made sure I instilled in you, Curtis, because being that you were the oldest, is like, if anything happens to your siblings, you got to make sure, if anything happened to me, you got to make sure that you take care of them. You know what I mean? And at first, I don't think you understood like the importance of the role you had.
I definitely did it. Being the only child on my mother's side of the family, where I was, well, the first grandson, I was like, if I wanted it, I got it. Compared to being on your side of the family, where I'm in the middle. So it's not the same as in, oh, I want this. And it's like, not
right. It's like,
what do you mean I can't get that? What are you talking about? Like,
so. Exactly. So for me, I remember I had to go to work one day, and you were in summer school, and he was like, I'm taking Amaya with me. You know what I mean? And I was like, and I was watching y'all go down the street in downtown Brooklyn, and I was like, now he gets it. He's a big brother.
That was fun.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, you know what?
You're
right, because I was like, you know what? I felt comfortable now, because it was at a time where I didn't feel comfortable. Not that you wouldn't take care of her, but I didn't feel like it switched, like you are responsible. But then when I saw you say, oh, Amaya's going with me, it felt like, it's like a parent knows when a child is responsible enough to do something or take on another role or to add an addition. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't give you car keys at the age of 5 and tell you to drive, because you don't know nothing. You know no responsibility. You understand? But it's like a parent just know, it's a parent intuition to just know that he's ready. It's nothing that you go to school for. It's nothing that it's just something about the child that just clicks, and it goes, I feel comfortable and I know that you will take care of your sister. You understand you get what I'm saying? Because at front times I would have to just check in with you and be like, I don't feel safe yet, you know? And it's like, exactly. It was like, I don't feel safe with, like, I need to check in. You know, are you okay? Your brother ain't doing it. Did he try to leave you? You know what I mean? And it was so interesting, you know? And I was like, okay. At that moment when you took her to school and you was like, I'm taking Amaya to school with me. And it was like, okay, thanks for asking me, but you didn't. But you said, I'm taking Amaya to school with me. And I was like, okay. And I saw y'all walk down the street, and I saw how this protective big brother you became. And I said, they got it. And that's when I felt comfortable.
Yeah, that was the year I found out that I didn't even have to go to summer school. So we spent the time in summer school for no reason because they messed up my test.
Yeah, sure. Okay. We'll go back to that. Whatever. So anything else you have? Any questions for me as far as the guys? I think this was great. As far as like getting to know certain dynamics and the upbringing, how different parents' style of parenting has an effect on a child. You know what I mean? And what characteristics it brings. So with that, did y'all have any questions for me?
I don't think I have any questions.
Amaya? Go once.
I feel like I know the answer, but being that me and Curtis did grow up in two different places, how was you able to manage the relationship, or how was you able to push through, I would say?
Oh, that is a good question. And you want to know the real answer to it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing was effective. I didn't know what I was doing was right. I always felt as a parent, I should be doing more. Right. I always felt guilty because it's like, when I was with Curtis' moms, then I left Curtis' moms to go with your moms. It's like, I always felt I was neglecting a child. You know what I mean? And I always felt like, am I giving this person more or am I giving this person too less? And it was like, I remember always having a conversation when I knew you was coming to New York, having a conversation with Curtis saying, you know what? Okay, so Maya's coming. So, we got to make sure she has everything, make sure she have a good time. You know what I mean? I wanted to make sure that he knew that I'm not neglecting him if I'm giving you more treatment. And the reason why I was giving you more because we don't get to see you that much. You know what I'm saying? So I always was trying to make sure he understood and then make sure you understood, but it was very difficult. And till this day, I still don't know if I did a great job unless y'all tell me I did a great job and stuff like, because I don't know. So to manage it, I didn't know. I just knew that if any time, I don't care how broke I was, I always knew I had money put aside. Mm-hmm. But if any one of my children needed me, I was going. If my money got to a certain level, I was broke. Because that was right. That was my emergency money to get to my kids, no matter what. And that's the only thing I knew. But any other thing than that, parenting is like, I don't know. I didn't come with instructions. I didn't know what things to ask. I remember one time when we was at Grandpa's house and you had came in and you told me your chest hurt.
Please don't say this story. They don't need to know that.
But it's like one of those things that you just don't get. You understand? It's like, huh? Mm-hmm. So it's like, fathers, we don't know. I just ask that. I always pray to God and make sure y'all had anything, so I hope I clarified that for you because you don't know.
I have a question for Curtis though, if you don't mind.
Nah, go shoot.
Curtis, when we was younger, when I did come down, did you feel any sort of way? Like when I did come down, because I know like everybody would just, kind of give me that type of focus. But was there any type of ill feelings or resentment during that time?
In the beginning, like when we was real younger, like before?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. But as as the time went by, it was just like, oh my gosh, Amaya, it's good to see you. Like I'm here too. What's going on? But as I got older, well, not even older, as like time just went on, it was just like, yeah, we don't get to see Amaya a lot, and
So did you feel like I was taking like people from you?
Grandpa? Yes. You always stay with Grandpa. Everybody else, no, because it was you stay with the girls. Like it was just like you hung out with the girls and the girls hung out with you, and then I was with the boys, and this is what it was. And then even if we was separated, like we was always together. Like everybody always did something together. So even if it was play hide and go seek or play the game, it was like we was always together. So to me, it was just like another day with the cousins. Like I said, like it was just like when you with family, when you with family, it's like no resentment. It's like you ain't see anybody in a mad long. It's like a family reunion. Like I looked at it like that. And once everybody gets together and everybody say the greetings, it just goes back to normal. Like nobody missed a step. Like nothing changed. It's just like
everybody's here. Let's go to the same beat. Yes.
Yeah.
But to my dad's point and Amaya, even me, Amaya, and you, my daughter, and that's me. I felt like, wow, he just don't care about us no more. Huh? But understanding that, you and his birthday was 2 days apart. You understand? So especially around Thanksgiving time, it was like he always felt that Thanksgiving was his birthday party, and when you came around, it was like nobody could eat but Amaya. You know what I mean? Amaya got the first one. I was like, well, I want to eat. And I'm the dad. And he used to really get upset. He'd be like, nope, Amaya could eat, and that was it. And then everybody's eat after that. So, yeah, Curtis. It was a little. I was a little jealous, but also I was happy that the bond, and I do miss my father a lot, and I'm glad y'all did get the chance to spend a lot of time with him. He did love y'all both a lot. He was very proud of you, both of you. I think that would probably be the second time my dad ever told me that he was proud of me. Is when he would see you two. And yeah, that was the second time my dad ever told me he was proud of me. And he didn't say that stuff that much. He didn't give you kudos just you're doing something. He gave you, it's like, you're a dad, you're supposed to be doing it. You're supposed to get an A. What am I paying you for? You know what I mean? It was like, you didn't get it easy, but although we had our problems in the past, like I said, growing up and going through the trials and tribulations that I went through, I kind of understood what he was saying and understood what it was, because I understood why he was quiet and why he didn't do certain things, so I don't take it for granted. But I believe this has been a good and interesting podcast. And I want to thank both of you for participating. Do you have any closing words or closing remarks you want to say to the audience?
I seen a quote last night. I forgot it. I'm gonna get it next time.
Why bring it up? Oh God, Amaya.
Just to let people know I'm thinking about them.
Yeah, but you forgot it, so you forgot them. Got you, Amaya. Any last minute?
I don't have anything to say directly to the audience. I think it's always a good thing that we can come together and have conversations like this, and just stay true to what we are feeling and what we're thinking, and able to have like a civil conversation. So, yeah, that's all.
Well, I want to thank you both for participating again. And like I said, to the audience members, if y'all have any questions or you want to reach out, you can reach out to Found Purpose. That's the name of the organization, the nonprofit organization. But you can email us at info@foundpurpose.org or info@foundpurpose.com. And we will definitely get back to you. Thank you for participating. This has been another great show. Be true to yourself. Be true to who you are. Be true to your feelings, and everything will fall in place. And put God first, and everything will be well. God bless, and stay safe.